Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Cash PT Lunch Hour podcast. This is Aaron LeBauer, your host. And today my special guest is Jess Jenney. Jess is a physical therapist. She's been a traveling physical therapist since 2010, like a decade, which is crazy because that's about as long as I've been a PT myself too. But now Jess is, what does it say? She's on a mission to share a passion for travel therapy. Jess is helping people become travelers. You know what she's doing? She's helping new grads do it too. And so I wanted to bring her on the show because not only is she helping new grads do what everyone says they shouldn't do, she's doing amazing things herself, selling courses online, helping other physical therapists grow, even during a pandemic in these uncertain times. So Jess is a badass entrepreneur and she is here to share what's up. So Jess, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Aaron. This is an honor.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, it's been awesome to see some of the things that you've been doing this year and how you're helping people and taking action. So can you just share a little bit about what do you do right now? Because you're doing a couple different things and you're like, who are you helping? What are you doing? And we'll start there.
Okay, sounds good. So like you said, I've been a traveling PT for 10 years. And after a couple of years being a traveler, I had a lot of people asking me like how to do it, how to find housing, what companies to work with. And I realized that this wealth of knowledge that I had gained was really valuable and I needed to share it with people. So I thought at first like, oh, I'll just write a book about travel PT. And then I quickly realized like, no, this needs to be a blog and like accessible to everybody. So I came up with the name Wanderlust PTs and I threw it into a blog. And now it has webinars, online courses, a lot of different resources for travelers, and especially helping new grads become travel therapists, because a lot of new grads will hear like, oh, well, don't be a traveler as a new grad. You have to gain experience first, and that is absolutely not the case. So I started there with Wanderlust PTs, and then COVID hit, and a lot of people got let go from their jobs. So I decided like I wanted to inspire other people to take control of their career. I saw what Wanderlust PTs did for me, and having an online business did for me. So I wanted to empower and inspire other PTs to do the same and start building online businesses for themselves and virtual clinics. And so that's what I'm doing now, in addition to help coach traveling therapists, is helping travel therapists, but also any PTs who are interested in learning how to start and grow an online business.
That's awesome. So how did you 10 years ago, how'd you get into PT? Like, what was the reason you stepped into physical therapy versus, let's say, business consulting? Or, I mean, like back in the day, it's like working for Arthur Anderson or becoming a lawyer and, whatever. Like, how'd you choose physical therapy?
Yeah, I wish that it was a great, story, but it's not. It was just, hey, I like working with people. I think the human body is incredible. I like to know all pieces and parts of it. It wasn't just that I had an injury and I went to PT and I said, oh, this is great. I wanted to help people, but I didn't want to be on call like a doctor was. So I figured physical therapy fit the bill. I could go to school. I could do this. I thought I would always have a job, right? We all thought that going into PT school, we'll always have a job. We'll always be needed somewhere, which is the case. There are still patients out there, even though COVID has affected the job market. So it's nothing really exciting.
Yeah.
Other than that.
How did you how'd you get into travel PT? Was it something that you did right away after you graduated, or, was it something you did after a few years of working, somewhere else?
I worked for 1 year at a clinic where I was the only PT, but I had a mentor who owned the clinic, who helped me to learn what it was like to start, run, and grow an outpatient clinic on my own. So that was amazing. But then the truth is, honestly, I didn't want to travel initially. I was scared. I was rather a homebody. I didn't like change. I didn't want to step outside of my comfort zone, and I didn't want to travel. But my partner at the time really wanted to travel and said, look, let's just try it for 13 weeks. If we like it, we'll keep going. If we hate it, we can come home, nothing lost, right? So that is what I did. I didn't want to travel, but I tried it. And it was the best decision I ever made. Like, it's been amazing. The travel PT isn't just about like the career, but it's about the opportunity that it gives you to achieve the goals that you set for yourself, as far as financial goals, personal goals, being able to take time off and see places that you want to see, meeting new people. But that you don't realize until you step outside of your comfort zone and you give it a try.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. So what is it like? Is it that you can work for 13 weeks and take 2 months off and just chill? I mean, what is it about traveling and see, like, going around and doing that? Like, what convinced me why I should be doing it?
Why should you be a traveling therapist? Yeah. So there's the obvious see new places, right?
Yeah.
So travel therapy is basically what it is it's when a facility, like an outpatient clinic, a hospital system, home health company, needs temporary staff and hires a recruiting company or an intermediate agency to help place staff just for a temporary need. The benefits of it are that you can go to new places, see new places, work there temporarily, and see if you like it. And in fact, 80 to 90% of these jobs that are available are actually seeking permanent staff, but for one reason or another, they can't find permanent staff quickly enough. So that's why they hire the travel therapist just as temporary, because in the meantime, they're looking for permanent staff. So that's something to realize as new grads. As a new grad, 80 to 90% of these jobs are looking for permanent staff. So if you were to move to the area and apply for a permanent position, it's the same job. There's nothing different about that travel job. So that aside, the benefits of seeing new places, meeting new people, right? The people that you meet with are that you work with become your new friends. These new friends introduce you to new hobbies and new experiences that you might not have otherwise experienced. So things like yoga. I've never had attempted yoga, and then some friends inspired us to do that. Hiking, camping, things I've never done before, never visited a national park until some friends were like, hey, we should go do this. And then before you know it, I've hit 21 of 62.
Wow.
Yeah. So new places,
so it's
new
not
friends,
like
new
these aren't like
experiences.
crappy jobs that no one wants, which is the idea placed in my head when I was like a PT.
Yeah. And now, not every job is right for a new grad, and not every job is a good job. Like, yes, there are crappy jobs out there. The important part is that you do your research, you ask the right questions on the interview to paint a picture of exactly what it is you're getting into. So asking about mentorship, support staff, other PTs there, what the onboarding process looks like, productivity, and getting the specifics of it so that no rock is left unturned. You're not making any assumptions, so that when you go there, you know what you've gotten yourself into. People get in trouble, and I think you hear a lot of horror stories about travel therapy, is when people just sign up and make those assumptions and then show up there. And that's what I did for my first travel job. They told us what the productivity was, and I didn't know what that answer meant. I didn't understand what the answer meant. I asked the right question, I got the answer, but I didn't understand what that meant. And because I didn't have anybody coaching me or telling me what was good or bad, got ourselves into a tight position that was a little bit uncomfortable.
What happened?
So,
like, what was it?
What was it? It was a skilled nursing facility, and they were looking for like a 90% productivity and sharing computers. So, you couldn't do point of care documentation. And for me, who had worked in an outpatient clinic, seeing 16 to 20 patients a day, doing paper documentation, I thought, oh, well, my productivity is easily 90%, like no big deal. Well, you can't compare outpatient productivity to skilled nursing productivity, especially when you can't find a blood pressure cuff that works, or you have to share a computer, or this person is toileting right now and you can't get them, right? Or you have to walk between. So anyway, I knew the question to ask, but I didn't understand what that meant. And that's why having somebody to coach you through it and having mentorship through your process of becoming a traveling therapist is really important.
Yeah. What are some of the other like pitfalls or traps that people fall into? Like, especially if they just flip to the back of the magazine and just choose the number and call. I don't know. I mean, that was what I saw. Was like just the ads in the back of the magazine. right?
Exactly.
What kind of problems should we look out for?
Yeah. So don't go with just any recruiting company or any recruiter. Uh, Definitely go with recruiters and companies that are recommended from people who have been doing it for a while, who
Mhm.
know what to look out for. Some companies and recruiters don't try to take advantage of you, but they don't know better. And so as a result, it puts you in a bad situation. So I would say go with recruiters and companies from people who have been doing it and know what to look out for. That's probably one thing. Other things are know what questions to ask on the interview so that you can find yourself a good fit for yourself. And then there's also a systematic way of doing things as a traveler. So for example, and you live and you learn, and I learned from all of these mistakes, and that's why I'm happy to share it with everybody. And like needed to throw it up on a blog. But for example, housing, don't sign your housing contract until you get there and you know you have a job, or make sure you do a little bit of research on what the housing market is like before you sign that contract. And this is the example. Naples, Florida in the winter, beautiful job, amazing area, great clients. It's probably one of the wealthiest places in the nation and has beautiful weather for the winter, right? So we sign a contract and we sign a contract, and then we start looking for housing, and we realize all of the snowbirds go to Naples, Florida, and there is no short-term housing that is under, say, $2,500 a month in the area. So that was a whoopsie daisies that I now coach people into doing. You know, make sure you understand what the housing market is like before you sign a contract.
Oh, because you're not getting paid enough to afford the housing.
You are,
like
but if if you had the opportunity to take a job that pays $2,000 where the housing costs $1,200, if finances are important for you,
Right.
you would take that into consideration versus getting paid $1,500 a week where the housing was, $2,500 a month.
Right.
So just understanding what you're getting into before you sign that contract.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's a great point. What is the craziest thing that you've seen or experienced traveling around the US working as a PT?
Craziest thing. I think, okay, so I'm going to go to Naples and say, because you had said, when I think of travel jobs, I think of like these crappy jobs, right?
Right.
I think one of my favorite stories to tell is showing up at Naples in the Naples, Florida job. And we worked as PTs for a private golf club / tennis. So very active outdoor within a gym. And you walked in and there were waterfalls and marble, and it was just this beautiful gym space, and it was a dream come true for any physical therapist. And palm trees outside, it looked over the pool. And so that is probably one of the nicest, most relaxing jobs that we had as travelers. So it wasn't crazy in a bad way, but it was you couldn't believe yourself. Your jaw just dropped open. I get to work here for the next 13 weeks or more when it's snowing up in Buffalo. And here we are down in Florida.
Cool. Did you get to go to the jacuzzi and hot tub and all the spa services on your time off or whatever?
I wish we could, but no, but we did eat lunch out at the pool area, right?
Yeah.
So it's lunchtime and you got to go sit out and eat at the pool and enjoy the sunshine.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a job as a massage therapist working at the Sycamore Mineral Springs, hot springs and spa in California. Nice. And if someone was a no-show, we got to go in the redwood hot tubs with the, in the sulfur water, just go chill out for an hour. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
Amazing.
So what are some of the things, like you said, the questions people ask, or if someone wants to do a traveler, what are the one or two things they need to ask or find out, or where do they, what would be the places they should go to get the information? Where's the right travel companies or recruiters? What are the top 3 tips? What goes on your checklist?
On my checklist. Yeah. So I said, definitely go with somebody who's recommended. I recommend, if you want to be connected to those people who I recommend, you can go to wonderlustpts.com/recruiter and be connected with those people. But when it comes to how do you find a good recruiter or company, you want to make sure that they are communicative and adhere to what you're looking for in a job, but are not pushy about it. So you don't want them to say things like, well, skilled nursing is really good for a new grad, or you should work in XYZ, because they don't know your experience. They don't know what you're comfortable with. So make sure that they're not pushy. Make sure that they are respectful of what you're looking for, but are also very honest about the market. So for example, COVID has really affected the market. Pre-COVID, the job market might have hovered around 100, maybe 70 to 100 PT jobs in the nation at any given time.
Like
And
open
then,
and available.
yeah, open and available PT job, travel PT jobs across the nation, about 70 to 100-ish. And then post-COVID, like worst time ever, I think there were maybe 5 to 7 available. And not only that, the market was flooded with PTs, not just travel PTs, right, but perm PTs too. So it was almost impossible to find travel jobs at that time. Luckily though, the market is bouncing back. And right now there are maybe about 50 PT jobs. So I'd say we're like 50% there in recovering from COVID as far as the market goes. But you want them to be honest about that.
For context, like if there's 100 open jobs, how many jobs are there being filled? Like how many physical therapists are working as travelers? Do you know?
Ooh, I don't know that. I could just tell you, how many jobs are available at any given time, but I don't know how many are actually significantly less than nurses. I know travel nursing is very popular, but yeah, I don't know that answer. Let me find that out.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'd love to know. What are some of the, new grads are told not to do travel. They're also told not to open a business. They're told not to do a lot of things.
Let's talk about that.
I was one of those people that was told, like, you're crazy. You need 5 years of experience to open a business. And I was like, you don't even know me, like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, new grads, I've coached hundreds of new grads to be traveling therapists. So that just debunks that right away. They're told that because people have horror stories or they've heard of horror stories. My first question is, has that person ever traveled before? Have they traveled? And likely the answer is no. Like they probably have never been a traveling therapist. They've just heard of horror stories and that people should get experience. But like I said, 80 to 90% of these travel jobs are seeking permanent staff. They're the same jobs that you'd be applying for. And then on top of that, not every job is right for new grad, travel or perm. So find out, asking the right questions on the interview to know if it's the right job for you. But besides that, I think that there's something called imposter syndrome that just sits not only as travelers, but also just in the PT, as PTs graduate from school and across the board, right? People can have imposter syndrome in any kind of career. But imposter syndrome is your fear of being found out as a fraud, right? I think that we as PTs need to overcome that imposter syndrome, even as new grads, and know that we can help people. And if we can't help people, what will we do? And do you have a mentor? Are you taking continuing education to continue to grow as a clinician? So I think that like dentists and chiropractors, they open businesses right out of school, do they not? Right? So why are
sort of massage
therapists
too? I mean, shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So why do we come out of school as PTs thinking like, oh, well, I can't do that. I'm a new grad. Well, you absolutely can. You just went to school for this.
Yeah. Someone's telling you can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What, so tell me more, like imposter syndrome, right? Like talk more about it. Like, where have you struggled with that?
Right now, I'm struggling with it. Just being on this podcast, like to be completely vulnerable. Yes, I've been a travel PT for 10 years and I still for some reason feel this sense of like, well, why am I the person that is here talking to everybody about travel PT? Well, because I do know my stuff, for lack of a better word. But it just, it still gets to you, whether you're, in it as a new grad or doing it for 10 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I often am like, am I really like, do I really know what I'm talking about? Because, like I have no control over what everyone does, but, and then I was just telling my wife this morning, I was like, but, Jess and Ben and Julie and all these other people are crushing it this year. And, I'm like, but, there's a lot of doubt. Like our brains are wired for that. Wouldn't you agree?
They are. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And why? Like, I think it helps to have a coach to, like yourself, to help talk yourself through it and step outside of your comfort zone, because that is where the growth happens. Yeah. And if you just stay in your head and stick with that imposter syndrome, you're never going to grow beyond that. Yeah. And I think starting before you're ready is another way. You're never going to feel ready regarding anything in life, let alone opening a business. So start before you're ready and get outside of your comfort zone. And that's how you grow. So what would be something that someone has to do if they're like, okay, I'm not ready yet, I don't feel ready yet, but Jess just told me I have to start? Like, how do they, like, what's the first thing to do, whether it's travel or starting a business or just doing something you want to do? Like, what's that first step? In my opinion, it's get a mentor and invest in yourself. And that's because the mentor can see from a bird's eye view, basically where you are in the forest, what path you need to take, and how best to get there. Sometimes when you're in it yourself, you're looking around, but you don't really, there's just so much to do, so many options. You don't know which way is the best, regarding whether it's travel PT or starting your own business or anything in life. So if you get somebody who's been there and done that before, it's a lot easier. It saves you time. And don't be afraid to invest in yourself. When I started Wanderlust PTs in 2016, I started with an online course about blogging and helping to turn a blog into a business. And that online course was a couple $1,000s, but it has helped me, it has returned on my investment tenfold. And because it did that, I was quick to invest again and take classes on webinar creation, online courses, copywriting, telehealth, cash PT. And you find time after time again, if you do the work and if you are ready to commit and invest in yourself, that investment returns tenfold each time. If it's a good investment for you, it will return tenfold, and you have to do the work. So I would say that get a mentor. Don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. And invest in yourself. Take that first step. That's awesome. And then the second step is, once you invest and take and learn something, then what's the next thing you have to do? Take action. Yeah. Is that the answer? Like, yes, that is what I was looking for. It's take action. Like, what does that mean to you? Take action. I mean, Aaron said it. Jess just said take action. What is it? What does that mean? Take action. I think it's that's where stepping outside of the comfort zone starts. And I know, I have a list of things to do to take action. But a lot of those things are a lot more uncomfortable than others. And sometimes you'll sit in the comfortable space, but it's when you take action in the uncomfortable space that you see results. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you do that. Like, you're like, Aaron, I got this question and I'll answer it. And next thing I know, you've done it and more. I'm like, holy cow, she just does it, which is great. Well, thank you. And I would attribute that, when you said take action and step outside of your comfort zone, there's been so many times you've been like, Jess, this is what you need to do next. And I'm like, but Aaron, and you're like, it's what you need to do. And then I would do it. And then it's very helpful. And then it pays off. It pays off is the right word. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's, and I've found, that taking, like, I've gotten into a pattern of, I know what I need to do. And I just like, boom, do it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know what to do for a long time. And I found a lot of people get stuck. Have you gotten stuck with not knowing what to do, or what is that feeling like for people, if you can describe it, of like not knowing what to do so you don't
take action versus knowing what to do and you do take action. Can you describe that
Absolutely.
difference?
Yeah. You're as an entrepreneur, your to-do list is endless. It's always endless. There's always going to be things to do. And at times you're going to feel overwhelmed to just not do any of them. But when you get on a coaching call with your mentor, or that's when the clarity comes of, okay, this is what I need to do first. This is why I need to do it in order to take the next step in my business. Whereas if you don't have somebody, like I said, with that bird's eye view that can say, hey, go do this, you're going to stay stuck in that place of like, well, I don't know what to do next, or I don't know what makes sense. Or you're going to be spinning your wheels doing things that don't matter. Little things that aren't going to make a difference. You have to instead invest your time in what's going to move the needle. Is that what you say? What moves the needle the furthest?
Yeah. What moves the needle, or what's the lever that you can pull that gets the biggest result, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I think it's, right, when it comes to physical therapy, we all know how to treat people, and we all know how to like diagnose them, and you're like, oh, I think I can help you move with less pain or with whatever the result is. But in business, sometimes there's a lot of great ideas and we don't know which path to go down.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for sharing your perspective on that, because I think it's good for people to hear. Like I needed to hear that for a long time myself.
And it's true for anything. I mean, online business, anything you want to learn.
Yeah, like buying a van and traveling around the United States.
Self development, anything like that. Yeah. So I do have a van, and it's converted, and you could build the van without knowing anything, and you could try to figure it all out for yourself, take 10 times as long, and you could spend a lot more money, or you could just get advice from somebody who's been there and done that, and build exactly what you want the first time with exactly what you need. And I mean, I'm you get what you pay for kind of person. And as long as you can invest in yourself and take action and do the work, you're going to see a return.
That's awesome. So what kind of van do you have? It's like a Dodge or something like that, right?
Yeah. It's a ProMaster Ram, 2015, high roof, extended cab, 3,500.
That's cool. So what did you do to the inside? Yeah. So did you build it out? You have someone else build it out? Did you buy it that way?
I built it out with some friends and assistants. Yes. So awesome. It was fun. It was neat to like learn all of the insulation and the wiring and batteries, and just kind of design what you want. So that was really fun. Again, people who I met traveling inspired us to do this. So
that's awesome. And you currently use it to travel around to different places, or you were doing it for your travel jobs? Were you using your van to drive around the country for it?
I was using it between assignments, using it as I take, you had asked, like, can you just take 2 months off? And the answer is yes. You don't get paid for your time off in between assignments, but you have the flexibility of being like, you know what, I'm just going to take time off and drive around for 8 weeks. So I've done that numerous times. But like visiting national parks, I haven't lived in it on assignment yet, but I might consider that.
That's awesome. So let's go back a little bit. COVID hits, right? You were on assignment in March. I think it was actually here in Greensboro. Is that true?
That's right. Yeah, I was.
What happened? Walk us through what happened, and and how did you pivot and deal with the whole like change?
Yeah. So I want to back up a little bit right before that. So a year and a half before that, I was really into wanting to learn more about telehealth. Because I felt like it was going to be a big thing eventually. And I liked the idea of the flexibility of it and having the freedom of it and just knowing about it. So I wanted to learn everything there was to know about telehealth. So I invested in Rob Binding's telehealth residency program, did that with him, built a virtual clinic online, learned everything I could about telehealth. Fast forward a year and a half later, COVID hits, and I'm on assignment as a travel therapist at one of my favorite facilities to work at. And they had to close doors to inpatient care, as everybody did. And so at that point, I went to the director and said, let me help you transition your inpatient care to a telehealth system and program. So I was really fortunate to be able to work with the company, my colleagues, some of the upper management there to help them design what they need for telehealth and implement the strategy that they needed in order to help transition into telehealth services. So that was really an honor to be a part of such a huge transition for a giant hospital system. But ultimately, like, they didn't have enough work for their permanent staff. I was let go along with a lot of other traveling PTs and permanent PTs in that area. So as I thought, like, well, we could all just sit around and wait for the jobs to pop back, or we could take matters into our own hands and start creating jobs for ourselves. Like, the patients are still out there. They still need our help. We just have to access them. And with my experience in online business, marketing, webinars, online course creation, copywriting, website design, and then telehealth, I knew I had wanted to help other people develop virtual clinics for themselves back when I was taking courses with Rob. But and I actually had put it on the back burner. I was like, well, I'm not going to do this just yet. Well, COVID took it off the back burner for me. Right. So between losing my job, COVID, and then I think, Aaron, at that time, I was also at your PT BizCon 2020. Right. It was like the culmination of all of those things. It was like, all right, lighting the fire underneath your bum, let's do this. And so I launched my telehealth mastermind group, and now have maybe 20 clients in helping them to build their online businesses and virtual practices.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congrats. So
thank you.
You were working as a traveler, and you had this kind of like Wanderlust PTs, like side hustle, online webinar, helping other PTs get placed and find how to get travel jobs and helping them. COVID comes and wipes out one piece of it. And you're just like, within a few days, you're like, I'm doing this other thing. Yeah. That's awesome.
I mean,
how are you able to do that so quickly?
Online business is online business.
Yeah.
It's like tissue is a tissue is a tissue, right? If you know how to function in a muscle, on one side of the body, you can do the same on the other. And online business is the same thing. Like, Aaron, I remember you saying that you had to search outside of physical therapy to find what you needed in order to learn about sales and marketing. And it's the same thing. You can apply these principles to anything in online business, whether it's whether you're a contractor or a psychologist or a massage therapist or a physical therapist or a coach, a career coach, anything. It's the same concepts. It's the same finding a target market, finding a niche. How do you speak with them? Funnels and email marketing, and it's all the same.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's dive into that for a second. What are the ways that when you're running your businesses, your online businesses, how are you finding people? What are the most effective like online marketing strategies or tools that you're using?
Yeah. So I'm going to say with what I'm not using right now. I'm not huge on social media. And although I know I could be, and it probably is something I'm missing out on right now, I don't want to say stresses me out a little bit, but I don't want to be scrolling and being on social media every day. Right. So I actually never really relied on social media for where I find people just yet. The key for me is the blog and email marketing. And my blog generates a lot of organic searching and people coming to me organically that way, which is great.
That's awesome. So like, even for traveling, it's like people are putting like travel PT jobs and your stuff will show up, or a blog.
Yeah. I think if you search like travel physical therapy blog or something like that, I might be around there.
That's awesome. Yeah. And is that how you got, when you pivoted and you started this, like mastermind for people who want to do like a virtual clinic, was it through blogs or search, or how did you find those people?
So I already had a list of about 3,000 people. So I just emailed that list and said, hey guys, we don't have jobs now. Who wants to start their own business? You know, are you in the same spot that I'm in? I'm ready to teach everything I know about telehealth and creating an online business. And it was just my existing market, basically, that I reached out to.
Right. So it's a problem that they had. So they had the same problem you were having.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you send an email. So a lot of people are listening, like you and I know email marketing, but a lot of people listening don't. And I've tried to explain it to people, and I think people are like, wow, what do you mean she just sent an email? Like maybe someone's having, I'd love to know if someone's having that same question, you just, or, like shout us out on Instagram somewhere, but can you share, Jess, like, what do you say in an email to someone, or like, we'll go back, I'm going to go back to how'd you build your list in a second, but like, what do you say in an email to someone to get them to figure out, like, do they want to buy this course that you have?
Aaron, I want to say one thing too, real quick about email, because people are like, why email? I think social media converts at like 1%, maybe 2%.
Yeah.
Email marketing converts 27 times better than that. So you have to first establish your rapport, basically, with your reader. You have to get them to know, like, and trust you, and to understand who you are and what you're about. So it wasn't just, that they were sitting on my email list. They signed up once and they just sat there, and then I emailed them, hey, who wants to do this? It was, I nurtured them through, hey, this is who I am. Here's lots of free information, the give to get mentality of like, give them lots of free information in order to get either a buy or a click or a conversion of some sort. So knowing that, what do I write in the email is being vulnerable. And I can't even remember what I wrote, but it was something along the lines of like, hey, so COVID, who else is without a job and who's interested in doing this? I'm thinking about doing this. Here's an application if you're interested. I think I had maybe 50 or more applicants. And actually, I messed up the first time, and then you helped me. So the first time around, I think I said, just drop in your email and phone number here and we'll chat. Well, I had like 50 plus phone calls to make with people about my mastermind, which was great, getting to talk to people. And then after that, I implemented an application process, which helped weed it down a little bit more, and I don't have to call as many people this time around. But did that answer the question?
Yeah,
Aaron?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think so it's there's more to it than just sending an email, and it's just sending an email to people who trust you, right? It's just say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. Are you struggling with this too? Let me know if you are. I'd love to help you out. Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back. How'd you get 3,000 people on your email list? Did you buy that from somebody, or like, what did you do to, build your email list?
Yeah. Remember I told you in 2016, I started Wonderlust PTs, and the first course that I invested was blogging. It was a blogging course, but it was how to turn a blog into a business. Yeah. And the one thing that they taught, in addition to having a target market and niching down, the riches are in the niches, another fun marketing term. But in addition to that, she taught about lead magnets, or bribe to subscribe. And a lead magnet is something that sits on your website that's an irresistible offer that you're giving people for free in exchange for their email. So on my website, when you go there, you'll find things like the 10 must ask interview questions, or a free webinar, Travel Therapy 101, how to become a traveling therapist confidently, even as a new grad, or the travel therapist checklist. So new grad to travel therapist, these are the timeline and the things to do. So these are called lead magnets, and these lead magnets help people to drop in their email in return for whatever it is that you're giving them. And that's the key to developing an email list. That's
awesome. And then, so the value, like, so values in the email list, right? And so what happens then? Do you send them like a message? Or are you up all night responding to email requests for your freebie? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. Then it drops into an automation sequence of basically, hey, thanks for subscribing. Here's your download. And then like a day later, hey, just wanted to make sure you got that download. Thanks to you, Erin. That was one of your, and I do get people replying to that, but this is happening automatically so that it gets sent out automatically. And then inviting them to I think, and then I asked them, what I learned was a golden question. And the golden question is, hey, I want to make sure that the content that I write is specific to not just anyone, but you, my newest reader. What's your biggest question about topic, travel therapy? What's your biggest question about telehealth? And then you get some people that reply and ask that question, and then you reply and answer that question for them. And all of a sudden now you are an authority and you're replying to them. So you're answering their question and they're grateful for that. So you're developing that connection and that rapport with the reader. So that's maybe day 2, and then day 3, invite them to a webinar. Day 4, tell them a little bit about your journey, and then just keep sending them valuable information. I think I email maybe once a week.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you like emailing about like, here's what I'm doing, or here's travel, or answering questions? Like what's valuable to people on your email list?
I think a lot of the times it's because when people come to your website, they're not reading all of your blog posts all at once. So a lot of the time my emails are related to, hey, has somebody told you not to travel as a new grad? If so, first, have they traveled? Or they might have missed this blog post here. You know, if you want to read this, click here. So it clicks, and then this is another trick of the trade for SEO, which is search engine optimization.
Yep.
And helping to get yourself found on the Google, is when people click and get sent back to your blog, that helps to improve the SEO of your website or improve visibility on the Google. So that's another way that building an email list is helpful for your growth of your online business as well. But basically it's always pointing back to my website. So people return to the website in order to help, and then they'll read more of the information there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so great. And that's one thing would you call that you said what was your second email, the golden email? You said you sent
the golden question.
Golden question.
And I learned that
awesome.
from that first course that I took. And that golden question is like, hey, I want to make sure that all of my content is specific just to you. So what is it that you're struggling with? And then a lot of the times the question is, can I travel as a new grad? So then I reply and I say, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. It really means a lot to me that you, my newest reader, shared what your biggest concern was. Your concern is very common. And as a result, I wrote these blog posts about it. Check them out. Let me know what questions you have. So I have blog posts specifically to answer like the biggest golden questions. And then I can just redirect people to those blog posts.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's so great. I just learned something. So
glad I could help.
Well, that's what that's what podcasts are for. I love it. Like I ask a bunch of questions. I'm trying to like figure out what can I learn here. What's something else that you've learned, whether it's in travel therapy, running an online business, or even your webinars, coaching people, like that you think would be valuable to us, or maybe that I might not know because I don't know everything. Like what's your secret thing? What's that one little thing that you do and you're like, people respond to this?
Wow. I think regarding online business, I think the one thing that people don't realize is lead magnets and email marketing. People will start with like trying to build a brand or trying to build Instagram followers, or if you build your social media, but you have no product or service to offer at the end of the day, the people up top of your funnel in your social media that are sitting in social media don't really matter because you have nowhere to funnel them to. But understand social media is like your end game so that you can help funnel people to your website so that you can get them to opt into your lead magnet so that you can get them on your email list and you can get them to know, like, and trust you and then purchase services from you. But chances are they're not coming to your website. Erin, they probably are coming to your website and buying your Cash PT blueprint right away because I would do that. But chances are they're not coming to your website and then like buying things right away. They want to get to know, like, and trust you. Just like, if you do go to any website, It takes like 5 or 7 or 10 times to get out in front of somebody, right? To actually make a conversion, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the point that, one of the points that you're making that I think people would be valuable to emphasize is that it doesn't matter how many people follow you on Instagram or Facebook or in your groups. If they're not on your email list, they're not yours, because you don't own the platform. But when they get on your email list, now you own the emails and you can control the conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's
chances are people don't see you, you know, if you're posting things on social media. It depends, but yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be fair to say that people like you and me who don't have tens of thousands of followers on Instagram are making 10 times more than people that have hundreds of thousands of followers, because they got followers, but they don't have them on their email list. They don't have valuable offers and nurture systems.
I think that's where the magic's at. And it reminds me of Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans. Like, you don't need to have thousands of people. You just need to have 1,000 true fans that will buy and put out anything that you that will buy anything that you put out. And if you have the concept behind this is, if you have 1,000 true fans and each of them will buy, you know, $100 worth of your products or services each year, you already have made 6 figures if you just have 1,000 people that love everything you do. And so that's the concept between Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans, that I like that, because then it doesn't keep me reaching for, you know, trying to get 10 million followers. It's just, I just need the people who like love the Wanderlust PTs tribe.
Right. And that's awesome. And I love that, what you said. And it's like, okay, 6 figures, $100,000 is like feels out of reach for a lot of people, even $1 million. But if we work backwards from it, that's right. Well, we need 100 people, 1,000 people to pay us $100, or 100 people to pay us $1,000,
or 50 people to pay you $2,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what could you do for someone for $2,000 that they would be like, this is the most amazing thing ever?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like, you could get them a travel job that doesn't suck and pays them an extra $10,000 more per year, like, right, bonus, or show them how to make a business. Like, those are all great, right? And people listening, like, I want you to ask yourself, what can you do that's so valuable that someone would want to pay you 100, 1,000, 2,000? What, Jess, is the thing? What's the thing that you help people with the most that, like, you can't put a dollar number on?
The first thing that comes to mind is mindset. Is I help them to reframe their mindset of like, well, I can't do this. Whether it's a new grad who's trying to travel, or somebody who isn't sure if they can start their own online business. But the second thing that comes to mind is I help people to design a career around the lifestyle that they want, instead of designing a life around the career they chose.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So design a career around the lifestyle that you want. Like, what do you want? Do you want to be able to have time to take off and travel the country? And do you want the freedom to be able to work from home and when you want? Or did you pick a career and now you're going to build your life around the job that you have to go to every day?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what resonates with me the most.
Hell yeah, that's what I want.
Can I
get some of that?
No price tag. There's no price tag on that, right? Yeah.
That's awesome. Jess, is there a question that I should have asked you that you think would be valuable to people listening?
No, I think we covered it all. But if anybody does have more questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I love to do this. And it's funny you said, you asked me, Jess, why did you become a PT? And I was like, no real passion there. Like, there wasn't, I'm sad I said that out loud, but there was no like real story behind it other than like, it's a good job. I'll always have a job and I can do it. But I have passion in helping other people to achieve the freedom in their lives that I've been able to build for myself. And that's my passion is in business, and my passion is in helping other people to achieve those things as well. So it's funny that I worked myself this way anyway, even though I started as a PT. And I want to say that it's the investments in the online courses and the coaching and the mentorship that really helped me leverage my PT career outside of the clinical skills to build the business that I want and the lifestyle that I want. So I encourage other people to invest in themselves in the same way and do things outside of clinical PT stuff if that's where your passion lies.
Oh, that's really awesome. That's so awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. So if someone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to find you? Is it like through your website, social media, or somewhere else?
I am on Instagram, wanderlustpts.com, WANDERLUSTPTS, but also the website, wanderlustpts.com.
That's awesome. And then if they go there, they can get the freebies for like the like travel stuff. Is there anything?
Yep.
I mean,
yep. So there's a free webinar available. There's the 10 must ask interview questions, and there's also the travel therapist checklist. And if you also want to be connected with my recommended recruiters, there's the ability to do that as well. Drop me an email. I'm info@wanderlustpts.com, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think about the podcast today. Thanks so much for having me, Aaron. This has been awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And we'll put all the links in the show notes for anyone listening if you're driving specifically, or you want to come back to this later. But Jess, yeah, thank you for coming and spending your time with me today. This has been great.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yep.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Well, this is Aaron LeBauer and Jess Jenney. Get outside your comfort zone. And now no, that's not just in yoga, that's in life too. Get outside your comfort zone, do something great, because 2020 is the year that's going to make you like something special. So get out there, take action, and we'll see you on the next show.